Hey, good afternoon. It's October 23rd, 2025, Thursday, all day. Think about gratitude today and how important gratitude is. I have a sheet we're going to use that I got from one of the groups I'm a part of. I do the Bob Proctor Legacy Group, and I really appreciate the people involved in that and the work they do to be able to get good mindset out there and to get good ideas for people to be able to improve our world. It's been busy. I've had a number of meetings. There's several projects that I'm working on that require substantial effort and time and energy. And looking at those projects and looking at the executables that I'm developing for them is a real joy to be a part of it. It's something that I want people to really think about what your purpose in life is. I had a call earlier today with a good friend who he is working to make a change, right? Like he had a view of himself that existed and how he was living, and he decided that he wanted to make a substantial change, and he's doing a great job. But there's a discomfort at times in that journey when you go through those types of changes, and you get this uncomfortability as you pass different thresholds. And so you pass this threshold, you pass that threshold, you pass that threshold, and you get this sense of, do I really belong here? And it was amusing to me because I was talking to him about his journey and different choices that he's making, and I can relate to that very deeply. I can understand exactly what he's talking about because it's a challenge making those changes. It's a challenge sitting there and deciding you want to do something different. Something that I'm doing different is I'm running for office. I'm running for state legislature. We've got information here about what that looks like. You know, the vision, building stronger, healthier communities, mental health leadership, protecting our children, revitalizing rural communities, and having faith-based solutions. I have executive experience. I have nonprofit leadership. Very good looking, as you can see there. You're not going to find many other politicians that look as good as I do. That's obviously an important decision factor. But I have executive leadership, nonprofit leadership, and then as a nuclear energy millwright for much of my construction career. But I really love building things. And so last night I was sending out press releases, and it was uncomfortable a couple times because you go and you send out the press release and you're like, man, this is a big change. This is not, there's going to be more public scrutiny. There's going to be more discussion. There's going to be more of all of these things. And so when we make these transitions throughout our life, just like I was talking to my friend, you're going to have parts of you that still hold on to this prior concept of who you are, this prior paradigm of what you think your life can and should be. And by making that transition from, look, we're in this position to we're in that position, it fundamentally changes the dynamic within the world. It allows you to be able to make decisions and to be able to be in a position where you can really affect change. You can be able to amass wealth if that's your goal. If you can be able to affect change, you can be able to change the environment around you. Maybe you want to find the right partner. Maybe you want to find all these different things. Find a wife, find a husband. I don't know what it is for you. But one of the central elements in my life in these transitions is thinking about gratitude. And I know, talk about writing gratitude down. So today it's October 23rd. I'm grateful for peace. I look around the world and there's so much violence and there's so many negative things, and I'm grateful that I live in peace. Grateful that I am in peace. Grateful for prayer. Grateful for the time and energy that is spent in prayer. I love Psalm 23. We're going to put down Psalm 23 next. I'm grateful for Psalm 23. And just for the record, Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table for me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. When I think about words, and I think about the power of words, thoughts, and prayer, how those all intersect is that they change the dynamic of how we see the world. They look at the world as, we're on the path of righteousness sometimes. God's making us lie down by still waters, green pastures, all of these things. Even though things are hard, that's where I'm supposed to be. That prayer, that Psalm 23 is so impactful, and I'm grateful for the impact that prayer specifically makes in my life and why that prayer is so significant. Grateful for fellowship. That call today really helped me. I had a great business meeting earlier today on Zoom where I had a good conversation about a workforce and economic development project that I'm involved in, really seeking partnerships, being able to create pathways for communities that don't have economic success or don't have opportunities for economic success, and being able to create a vibrant pathway that can be able to help us all to be able to thrive and grow. That is something I'm tremendously grateful for, because the fellowship of work is a blessing. So too is the fellowship of friendship. And I have a very good friend who I talked to today, and it's an honor to be on his journey, because you can just see where he's going. And it's when you see and know what somebody's direction is, it is such an honor. And I've got a bunch of those in my network where I know you, we're friends, we talk honestly about it, and I just see these great things in your life. And it's an honor to know you. It's men and women that are just exceptional people, and through fellowship, they really make my life amazing. And it's a blessing. For gratitude today, I'm grateful for air. I think about air, what we breathe, the oxygen, the nitrogen, all the different elements that make up air. If we didn't have air, I wouldn't be alive. And so that's something to be able to be grateful for. Grateful for exercise. I exercised today. That was a lot of fun. Weights, squats, cardio. I'm not hitting it as hard as I used to, and I am a little bit older than I was, but it's getting ready. Ski season's coming up. Some of the ski areas are going to open up soon, and so I'm sure I'll be out there having some fun, but it's just being aware of the fact that, man, it's such a blessing to be alive today, and to be able to have this journey and to have this time, and to think about our journey as part of it is this action of movement and the joy of movement, being able to exist and to be able to flourish, and that's something I'm really grateful for. I'm grateful for time and how I use it. Last night I was stuffing envelopes because I'm sending out fundraising appeals for my nonprofit. We're raising money. It's end of the year. That's the time when nonprofits make a lot of money, and I'm continually putting effort and time and energy into this to build out what we're doing and our capabilities, and to be able to get more resources so we can do more. And that's a lot of fun. I had some good conversations about that. I'm grateful for networking. I have an amazing group of people that I know, and again, the call this morning was a real honor because it was so interesting to hear different perspectives. I was talking to somebody from an electrical co-op, and to understand more about how their organization grew, what its goals are, and how we can be able to work together is a joyful, fun thing. I'm going to put down growth, networking and growth. I'm grateful for Bob Proctor and that Bob Proctor legacy, man. I am very inspired by his words, by his actions. I remember there was one of his videos that was on YouTube, and I would watch that video constantly before I went to bed, because I wasn't where I wanted to be in my life. And I remember watching that video. It really wasn't that long ago, but I'd watch that video. I'd be in St. Paul in a hotel for training, and I would sit there and I'd watch that video every night before I went to bed. And it made such a difference, because he had all of these great ways that he communicated effectively what his goals were. They were very clear, they were very succinct, and it was a joy. I'm grateful for today. The existence today is such a blessing. Being able to be in the moment, being present, is the greatest gift. I love life, and I love what I get to do today. It asked me down here, write out your desire. I'd really like to see more people find their voice. I'd like to see more people be successful. I'd like to see more people grow, thrive, and create these wonderful lives that help us to be able to have a bigger society, that really helps our economy to grow, helps our communities to grow, helps us to be able to have these challenges that people face with mental health and addiction. Really helps to be able to put that away, because there's this new pathway we can be on. We can be able to step away from racism. We can step away from all of these things. we look at the great changes that we've made in the last, 250 years. Some of those changes have been challenging for certain communities. Some of those changes maybe we can look at a different way and we can be able to use to be able to build things better. And that's what I aspire for, is that we have continual growth. I'm going to put down my desire is to be an agent, change, and growth, positively impacting my life, those around me, and the world. Helping people unlock their voices, which are currently silent. There's songs and music I really like, and there's one by it's a guy from Coldplay and Jacob Collier, and it talks about a human heart. And it's just got this great harmony, and there's just a real beauty to it, to the song. And I think about that song a lot when I work on these projects to help people to be able to find voices, because those voices, man, we look at some of the political violence that we've had, we look at some of the challenges that we're seeing as a country, and I see a lot of that as being voices being silent. And finding ways to be able to raise those voices, to strengthen people's confidence to speak, that is a major part of what I'm here for. So today's been a wonderful blessing. I'm grateful for you being here, being a part of this. I hope that you have a legendarily excellent day. I hope that you have joy and happiness and peace and serenity, and that you're able to write down some things that you're grateful for, because it makes a huge difference. So God bless you with legendary excellence. Talk again.